Welcome to this edition of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, we're going to be doing an unboxing, and this is what we're going to unbox. And you know it's got to be good because it's got this sticker on it. What's this sticker say? Sellers are not liable for accidents or injuries. Always a good sign, better than PG-13. So anyways, I've already cracked the top of the box open, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's inside of it. Give you a little hint. I'm going to go back to this. No, I'm not. I'm just going to go ahead and open it. So it's a 110 volt version, so it's the US version. So I still have popped the top a little bit here. Forgot. Whoops. The anticipation is building. Let's cut the tape off. I think I got it all. And voila, there is what we have. Ta-da! Okay, what is it? Well, let me get it out of the box for a second. Okay, so we got it out of the box. You still don't know what it is. I should have did a contest or something. Guess what this is. So, anyways, well, let me take the bag off, and I won't keep you waiting any longer. And here it is. Ta-da! I'm going to have to refocus the camera a little bit, so sorry if there's a little bit of a bump. So what I did is I got a vacuum former. So a little bit of a story. So one of the things that got me into 3D printing was vacuum forming. So kind of going back in time, a long ways back in time, back in the 60s, my grandfather, who was a tool and die maker all his life, actually had a vacuum former in his personal shop, a rather large one. And one of the things we do is use something like a Bakelite. Now, those born in the last 10 or 20 years have probably never heard of Bakelite, but this is sort of like the forerunner of plastic. I'm not sure if it was exactly Bakelite, but it kind of looked like it, as I recall. Anyways, it always fascinated me when he'd put it in there and pull down, and then this thing would pop out. It was like magic, and I was always impressed with that. And, you know, the concept, because he used to use those a lot for shells, for machine tools and things like that. And so I was always fascinated. And one of the things, I had the CNC machine long before the 3D printer. I've had the CNC now for 8-9 years, and the idea was I'd make something out of the CNC and then use the vacuum former to create the end product. Well, as I got looking for a vacuum former to do that, I ran into 3D printing, and I'd been following it for a while, and it had improved quite a bit from when I left it and kind of got sidetracked into 3D printing. But of lately, I've wanted to get back into vacuum forming for a couple things, which we'll see in some future episodes. So I started looking for a vacuum former, and one of the things I ran across was this up here, and this was a ad on Kickstarter for an interesting vacuum forming device. Now, I found it very interesting in that it was a good size, and it was all in one, because one thing I was thinking about doing my own, and I probably will in the future, but then you got to have something to heat it and everything else, and I wanted something simpler. And so I went looking for that, and again, I found this up on Kickstarter, but you had to still bring your own vacuum, and it was $400, and the $400 didn't even bother me as much as the fact I was going to have to wait until March of 2017 to potentially get it. So that was a deal killer right there. That is just way too long. And the price, $400, and I still got to bring my own vacuum. So I went off searching, and I was looking at building my own vacuum former, and I ran across this, and I saw it on eBay, and I saw it on Amazon, and I went for the Amazon price. It was like maybe a few dollars higher. I mean, under 10 than eBay. But the one thing I like about Amazon, and by the way, the link will be below if you want one of these, is I can return it. I've had great luck returning stuff on Amazon that hasn't worked out. eBay, forget it. It's the garage sale to the world. So anyways, I picked this guy up, and a couple things that I want to talk about is, well, I'm going to back up a little bit. So this is for a dental office. So this is meant to make night guards and retainers and things like that. It comes with a built-in heater, it comes with a built-in frame, and it comes with a built-in vacuum pump. So this is a complete unit. It's a desktop unit, rather small, doesn't take up a lot of space. Now, it only does a 5x5 sheet of plastic. And so if we kind of sit this up, and we can kind of turn this out of the way and take the the foam packaging out. Oh, and they even give you a piece of plastic. Now the plastic that you can buy off of Amazon is rather expensive. I did order a box just for grins and giggles, but I don't think that's going to be the long story. And if you have some experience with getting some of this cheap, let me know down below where you get it. I did go to Hobby Lobby. I got a couple of sheets because I knew this was coming that I could cut up to fit in here to experiment with just some regular plastic. So we'll do that. However, to kind of give you a little bit of a tour, the idea here is you have a heating element on top. This is your heating element. Turns out of the way, so you put it here. There's two stages to this. Whoops, I should probably get the cord out of the way. So there's two stages to this, one here and one higher. You heat up the plastic, and then obviously you just pull it down over the plastic and turn on the vacuum pump, which is in the base, which is in short a vacuum motor, from a vacuum literally. And then you have this frame set up, oops, as the head falls out of the way, that clips on with pressure, and it actually takes a little bit of pressure to put that there, and holds the plastic in place. So I tell you what, let's go do a quick vacuum form. We'll have to go over there to do it, and I'll show you how it all works. Okay, so here we are. We've got this set back up on the bench. Sorry for a little bit of a background noise. I've got my ventilator running because this hose you see over here, because this will create some smells, is a ventilator hose, so it's actually will suck up some of the smell as this produces it, as it warms the plastic up. So what we have is a couple different pieces here I want to talk about. So it's got this plate which mounts on top of here. Now the idea in a dental office is your dental impressions sit in here, and this is actually full of stainless steel BBs, and they pour those around it. That way the air can still get around this, and then what happens is then it vacuum forms down around and make the retainer. In this case we're not going to use this. We're going to actually just simply use it over top of this. And so it's got a red handle over on this other side that controls this frame, and the frame locks at two positions upwards. And I'm guessing the reason for the two positions is depending upon the material. Now, we're going to use a .007 material, very, very thin material. The material that came with it is actually pretty thick, I think about a .30. So I'm going to save that. I got some of this thinner stuff from Hobby Lobby to experiment with. And what happens is this actually goes in. I'm going to lock this up. There's actually kind of like a guide inside of here that you can line this in, and it sits in there like a picture frame. And again, this locks in, and you move the heater over, then you activate the heater. So there's a light on the heater over here indicating it's on, and it'll heat up. Now the piece I'll warn you is this top will get very, very hot, so you will not want to touch it. You move the top by this little red knob here. So the other thing is, you don't want to have your part sitting in here waiting. If, for example, this is a PLA part, this part will melt as it's sitting in here because of the heat that's radiating down. So you want to have your part sitting off to the side for right now, and you will let it heat up. Now you'll know that this is ready when this begins sagging. Now this will take a while, even for this .7 to sag. It will probably take a couple minutes, and I'll show it kind of as a time lapse as it's sagging. So what we'll do is we'll go into a bit of a time lapse so you can see the sag happen, and then I'll cut back from the time lapse and show you how to do the rest of it. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to zoom in and you can see this sagging. Now this thinner plastic is not going to sag as much as the thicker plastic will, so you have to watch that this doesn't pop. So it's about ready for it to be vacuum formed, and you can see the bubble, the inverse bubble that's formed down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hurry up, slip my part in here. It's very, very hot. Turn on the vacuum, and now especially because this is so thin, and I let it get a little hotter than I should have, just to show you the sag, and I'm going to let this cool down a minute because this is very, very hot. Also, this plastic, when you pull it down on top of this buck, it's going to be hot. So one of the things on a different version that I did is I actually did this TPU, and it actually melted the TPU when it came into contact with it. So one of the things I would suggest, especially if you're using PLA, let this sit for a few minutes before you try pulling it off, because what will happen is it will deform the PLA. So you want to let it cool down a little bit before you try removing it. And then so here we go. We'll pop this out, and again, this will be very hot. Do not burn yourself. And there you go. So we've now shrink wrapped this piece. It's still a little bit warm. And then we pop it out, and now we have shrink wrap piece. So you could cast this if you want. Now this isn't a good example because this has holes in it, and there are some indentations here. However, I think one of the other pieces that I want to be able to use this for is blister packing. I'm going to do a video episode on how to use this to blister pack something, and this would be a good example of that. You know, so you could ship it, and you know, especially if you're in the into jewelry, things like that. This is a great tool, and this is a great size, because let's say this is a jewelry box. You could make a piece that would fit right inside the jewelry box and hold your piece in there and make it look really nice and professional and things like that. I am going to do another episode too on the different material thicknesses and how each one comes out, so you can kind of get an idea, because I think, especially coupled with 3D printing and CNC, this is going to be a handy little utility on top of that. Because one of the things I want to do here in 2017 is get more involved with getting back to the intent of this channel. You know, so if you got an Etsy shop, an eBay shop, or something where you're, home manufacturing or manufacturing on a small scale product, this is where I really want to go with the channel, is kind of helping you do that. In other words, build the machines, i.e. that's why the name DIY3DTech.com, and use the machines to create some sort of product. And I myself am going to be kicking off a few products and that kind of stuff too, so I'm going to kind of show you, the audience, how to do it. So if you're a crafter or something like that, please stay tuned, check it out. Maybe you're not interested in all the various videos, but I think you'll get a lot of interesting pieces and also tool sets. So this is just one of several tools in 2017 I'm going to add to my collection and show you how to use. So hopefully you found this interesting. If you're interested in one of these, the link is below to Amazon. Again, very happy with this unit so far. I've, off camera, I've done a couple other pieces and everything, practicing. So kind of got a idea how it works. And like I say, very happy that it's got the heater, the frame, and the vacuum all as one unit. The size could be a little bit bigger, but I think I'm going to experiment with some other ones in the future. But this is a good starting point, a good starting machine, especially even if you're in Etsy crafting with jewelry and stuff. Good to go. So hey, thumbs up. Subscribe button is going to be that way, this way, some way. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Check out the swag shop, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date on all of our projects.